So let's zoom in a little bit, and I want to spend more time now on the international bit, and let's listen to Rakhee on that front. So Rakhee, if you look at as a student, because you're an HSC student, and people who are with you are already perhaps IV or studied in abroad. So what are the advantage and disadvantage you face, and what extra as a student you had to do with the fact that you were an HSC student? And HSC, for people you're hearing, it's a higher secondary in Maharashtra board, which is the state board which Rakhee is talking about.
So I think the biggest struggle was the way we were taught. Like I had to change the way I learned, the way I was allowed, like the way my mind picked up things, because the way they taught you over there, they taught you a whole lot of things, but the way they did the quizzing was very different. Like in HSC, and even to an extent, Amloka ICSC, it was, which is your 10th standard board exams, it was a lot of mugging, and then you write down what you've mugged. It was a lot of that. But when I went over there, it was you had to understand the material, because they quizzed you like in a more like, I don't know, think about the answer kind of questions, not just, oh, we are giving you a chemical equation, tell us what the answer to like they're giving you substrates, you have to give the reagents or a reaction, what the reaction is. It wasn't like that. You had to think about the process and be like, if this were applied in a different scenario, what would happen? So like my first semester, I did very poorly over there, because I had to truly change the way I was studying. I had to not just mug anymore. I had to truly understand the material. So to do that, I used to go to my professors after hours. You have these things called teaching assistants in the US. I used to go to them after hours to ask them to teach me, how am I supposed to learn this material? I don't know how to learn the material because I've never been taught like that. So teach me how to understand this, not just mug and puke on a paper. Teach me, how do I understand the material and how do I write these exams, because I don't know.
Interesting.
So I had to take that extra step because I did HSC. If you do an IB, you're already learning like that in your 11th and 12th itself.
Yeah.
So I think that
And
was a big struggle.
And Rakhee, I think a great point. So as a student, because what I hear you say is you have to make yourself vulnerable, and sounds like you did that, and it's a biggest struggle for people who go from India. So tell me, how easy was it? What really shaped you the way you are today, and what kind of biases did you face, or roadblocks did you face as you were advancing? That would be nice to know.
So, I mean, I have to think. So in terms of roadblocks, like I said, it was just how to learn the material, I think was my biggest roadblock that I faced, which I had to overcome. And also the fact that I was away from family. I've always been a very family, like very attached to family kind of person. So I think in my first semester, I was also dealing with that. Luckily, I made some very good friends in my first semester who really helped me transition. But it may not be a thing for everyone. It was a very big thing for me to be away from family, to deal with that on top of everything that you do. So that was one aspect of it, which is a personal thing which you overcome, over time. But in terms of professionally, like education, that was the biggest, like I I mean, just overcoming the way I studied. And I think the biggest thing that pushed me forward was me doing that bad in my first semester, because I was like, I've always done well in biology. How am I doing so poorly over here? It's not possible, because this material is not difficult. It's just the way I'm studying it. So the fact that I did that badly in my first semester, it kind of woke me up. And I was like, okay, I need to, get back into my gear of studying really well. And also, yes, you're right. We as Indians don't like to put ourselves up front, being like, go ask for advice, go ask people for more things and go out there. But again, that is a personality, that trait that comes into play when you move to the US. It makes you more outspoken, to say, not outspoken really, but more someone who would go and reach for what you want in whatever way possible. Like go, like I said, go to your professors after hours, email them continuously being like, why didn't this work? What did I do wrong? Tell me. It made me like that. Again, it might not work for everyone, but it made me like that, where I used to really irritate my professors at one point. Like after every lecture, I had a list of questions I would stand with. Like my friends used to make fun of me. They're like, come on, like lecture's over, let's leave. But I used to stand after lecture with my professor being like, I didn't understand this. What did this mean? What did you say? Like, it also, like, because the professors were so interested in teaching you, it really enhanced my interest furthermore. Like they were very excited when you went to them with questions. So it enhances this personality of yours where they appreciate questions when you're asking. Like I in 11 12, like when I asked questions, everyone was like, they never answered really well. The professors here, they were like, oh, and I have to put in more effort. Over there, professors are excited to answer your question, so it further excites you when someone is appreciating what you're doing. So
Great point, Rakhee. And I think what you're saying is, what are the individuals needs to really do? And in spite of that struggle, your curiosity doesn't die. And then you're getting an additional motivation from the student as well. So if the student community is listening to you, I know a lot of people who are thinking of going abroad or want to go abroad, and they are similar with the family, from a very family driven, never gone outside abroad. So what would you advise? Just if you in hindsight, 2 or 3 things you would like to call out, especially people who are undergrad or graduation. What 2 or 3 advice you will give people who are thinking to go abroad, and from an attitude standpoint, from their ability to stand up and plan and prepare standpoint, what's your view?
I would say it seems daunting, but go for it. It will be life changing. It will truly change you and bring out a personality in you that is who you are. You get the ability to get that personality out. Like it's something my dad always says, like from afar everything looks daunting, but take one step at a time and everything starts to seem smaller. Like you're like, okay, I can overcome this. So look at it as one step at a time. It all seems very daunting from afar, but you will do it. Like you just have to take it one step at a time. And when you're going abroad, like a lot of people are like, oh my god, like so many people, and like all these nationalities and Americans, and we are so like scared of it in a way, or intimidated. Not scared, but intimidated is the right word. But don't be. Everyone is in the same boat as you. Trust me, everyone is just as lost. Even if people have studied in the US, they are also leaving their families for the first time. So everyone is just as lost. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There are stupid questions, but doesn't mean you shouldn't ask them. You should ask every question you have, because believe me, if there's a question you have, 10 other people have it who are scared to ask that question. Like I have faced that for sure. So just don't be intimidated. Don't be afraid. And if you go, enjoy it to the fullest, because it will truly be a life-changing experience. Like, don't be scared of anything. You will, whatever it is, wo ho jayega. Everything will just work. Like it will
Yeah.
happen. Some or the other, especially when you go in undergrad, it's a very, umbrella, like very like, not umbrella, but like a very like protected environment. They really care for their students. So it's very protected, and there are a lot of people to help you out. So just go ask your questions and find someone who will answer that question. If the right person is not like truly like just available, go find them. There is a person who will answer your question for you.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think the initiative has to happen from the student, is what you're highlighting.
yeah.
Rakhee.
Or you get lost in the mix. If you want to, be there and like get the best of the experience, no one's going to come to you over there. No one's going to spoon feed you anything. You have to be the one to take the reins of your career. Be like, I want this. Like I was part of a few, committees and clubs. So I went there and I was like, I want to be a part of this. Like you just have to be more outspoken and go out there and do things instead of waiting for things to be done for you, because you'll get lost in the mix. There are too many students.